You can call me Mystic Mac because I predict these things.
Mudaerji takes on Mitch Raposo this Saturday at UFC 314, and this is a really evenly matched fight at flyweight. Mudaerji, more of a striker with very improved grappling as of late, going to look to keep this one on the feet, use his range. Mitch Raposo, very good wrestler, also has very good boxing that we've seen, so he's going to look to mix it up a little bit on the feet, maybe go for some takedowns. So Mudaerji, he's 16-7, going to have more experience in the UFC, made his debut back in 2018, fought a lot of really good guys. He's very rangy for flyweight, 5'8" with a 72-inch reach, so he's going to have a 7.5-inch reach advantage over Mitch Raposo, who's 5'5" and a 64.5-inch reach. Mudaerji, like I said, rangy, southpaw, has a really snappy jab, great calf kicks and leg kicks, slips punches well, has very good defense, very movement to evade strikes. You saw that in his last fight against Charles Johnson, who's a very effective striker. He's just very slick all around, very smooth on the feet, great counters, great cardio. Was countering mostly against Charles Johnson, kind of making him miss, and had a really competitive fight against Charles Johnson, who I'm really high on. And his grappling looked good too. In his last few fights, with Matt Schnell, Tim Elliott, he was kind of getting taken down and beat up there, and obviously finished on the ground in both of those fights. But with the Charles Johnson fight, he looked like he had much improved in that area. He had last fought Tim Elliott in December of 2023, and then fought Charles Johnson in October of 2024. So it looks like he kind of just took time off it and focused on that from what I can see. Mitch Raposo, he's 26. Gonna be the shorter fighter, powerful and fast striker. He has good wrestling. He took his most recent fight against Andre Lima, which is just the worst case scenario for a UFC debut. I couldn't imagine a worse fighter to take on short notice, and Andre Lima, who I think's got a huge future in the UFC, but lost the fight by split decision. I think it was unanimous, but was getting his legs really beat up in that fight, and couldn't really get anything going. Got a takedown late in early round 2, but was just all around kind of getting beat up. Andre Lima did cheat a lot in that fight, eye pokes, fence grabs, but that's kind of what he does, as we've come to see. But I got to go with Mudaerji in this one. If this would have been Mudaerji's next fight after the Tim Elliott fight, I would probably go with Mitch Raposo, just because I felt like I would feel like Raposo would be able to get him to the ground, because at times, and prior to the Charles Johnson fight, Mudaerji just looked like an absolute victim on the ground, but showed a really good progression in his takedown defense and anti wrestling. Had a lot of good sweeps and attacks on Charles Johnson. Triangle choke armbar, I think it was. Some really slick sweeps when Charles Johnson would get on top. So looked like a completely different fighter. So now that he's kind of rounded out his game, has the takedown defense and the jiu-jitsu defense to be able to open up a little bit more on the feet against somebody like Raposo, who's going to be looking to duck under, get takedowns, like, I got to go with Mudaerji. He's going to be the longer fighter on the feet with more power. I think he's more skilled on the feet. 7.5-inch reach advantage at flyweight. Like, it's hard to pick against somebody like that, who's also, like, some people have that range, but they're not very good or don't have the skills to go with it. But Mudaerji does. He's got the snap, he's got that knockout power, and he has the skills to really leverage that reach advantage that he's going to have. So also fought the better competition, like I said, coming off of a fight with Charles Johnson. Before that, Tim Elliott, former LFA champ, former title contender, title challenger against Demetrius Johnson, where he did really well in that fight. Matt Schnell, who hasn't looked the best, but he's still very good, very high level. Malcolm Gordon, Andre Sukemthev made his UFC debut against Louis Smolka. Granted, he lost, but he's getting the rub against these guys that are very good. And I can't say the same about Mitch Raposo, who's really only fought Andre Lima and kind of got the break speed off of him. So I got to go with Mudaerji in this one. I think he could get the KO just with his range on the feet, but I think more than likely he's just going to be able to sprawl and brawl, kind of defend the takedowns, land the better strikes on the feet, and get the decision in this one. Thanks.